Hello and welcome to another episode of Wannabe Entrepreneur. I hope you're having a great Monday and the beginning of a great week. And today I have for you a juicy product story from my app changeit, which is how I was able to increase and improve the engagement in the ecostore. And for those of you that have not installed the app, the ecostore is basically where we showcase a lot of sustainable and green products that people can buy to live a more sustainable lifestyle. And that's very important for us. And what I mean as is for me, because I'm the only one working on it at the moment, because that's how changeit makes money. It's with the affiliate model, and every time you buy a product, I get a percentage, and the metric has been increasing and has been a very slow but steady process. And I think that you can use this process to actually develop any feature, and you can adapt it for your own model and your own product. And let's get started. So the first idea of the ecostore was a way to complement the actions. So in the climate change app, changeit that I have, there's many actions that you can take to reduce your CO2, and normally connected to each action there are products that you can buy that will help you to achieve these actions in an easier way. And that was the first feature, where underneath every action there was a little icon with the number of available products for that action, and when you clicked on it, it would open the ecostore already pre-filtered by the products that connected to that action. And if you would go directly to the ecostore without going through the actions, you would just see a list full of products from all the categories. And I quickly realized that this was just the first version, but this is not a good idea, because people would just feel lost. Imagine like an endless list of products, and people would just scroll through a couple of them and just leave the store afterwards. But that's fine, because that's how I like to develop the products. I like to come up with a feature, with an MVP, just to test the waters, just to see if it makes sense, because I'm a true believer that it's better to get the feedback from the user and adapt based on how people use the app or use your product, instead of trying to think everything through from one single head, which is the product builder, and then realize later on that all the time was wasted because no one uses the product as you think they would. So the next iteration was to create a kind of interface, an intermediate step in the ecostore, so that if people would like to go directly to the store, they would have multiple categories that they could easily go through and pre-select and filter for the products that they were actually in need for. And in the beginning, again, in a way to simplify things, I thought on using the actions as categories. So if you remember, if you are an older user, you would just open the ecostore and see each action as a category. And this would be something like speak about sustainability with minimum 2 friends, or insulate your roof, walls, windows and floor, and eat beef maximum once per week. So these were the categories, and when you clicked in one of those categories, you would see the products connected to them. I shared this. I thought that this would make a dent, this would make the needle change, and the engagement would increase. And surprise, it did not. I didn't see people clicking more, and I couldn't understand why. And just for you to understand, I'm looking for a 10% to 20% rate of clicks. So let's say I have about 30 to 40 users per day. So I would expect maybe to have 10 clicks or 15 clicks or 20 clicks. That would be great. But at the moment, I was actually having less than that. There were many days where I would have no clicks. And again, I went back to the drawing board, and I was sharing the app with my friends, collecting feedback on Reddit, trying to understand what was going wrong with it. And I actually asked a lot specifically about the store. I asked to people what they thought of it, and most of the people were saying that they liked it. They thought it was a great idea, and it complemented the app very well. So I was still not understanding why wasn't it working so much. So the next idea was to make the store more interesting. I needed to copy a bunch of features that other stores have, like Amazon and Zalando and so on. And I realized that they all add a favorite list, a wish list, the possibility for you to add products so that you could revisit them later on. Because one thing is for sure, no one will buy a sustainable product right away. This is not an impulse buy, and my users are not impulse buyers, right? So normally people would come to the app and open the app, but they wouldn't buy the product right away. They would maybe think about it and then buy it later. So I created this feature, which is a wish list. I also added the possibility to share your wish list, because my reasoning was, if someone is asking you what they should offer you for your birthday, for instance, you could just share your wish list and they could buy a sustainable product. So I think it makes sense. And by the way, I think it's really important for you to also use your common sense, use your experience, and align that with the feedback you get, and based on this create your product iterations and new features. So I created a wish list, took some time to develop it, but then I was super excited. I shared it, and again, it didn't change the needle too much. I saw a little bit more engagement, but still I was having 5 clicks per day, sometimes no clicks, and no one was actually using the wish list. No one was adding products to the wish list. And it got me thinking, why is that not many people are coming to the store? And my next approach was to think, what would be the entry points? How would people come to the store? And I realized that, okay, first time you install the app, you are exploring it, you check the notifications, you check the actions, and you check the ecostore. But then there's nothing bringing you back to the store. What brings you back to changeit to my app are the notifications, because I have daily notifications. But there's nothing in the notification screen that actually brings you to the store. And that's when it came the idea of connecting, basically adding as many entry points as possible. Because if my goal was to bring users to the store, I need to build a lot of doors for it, right? So what I realized was, okay, let's add the related products to each notification. So now every time you get a notification and you open, you also have an icon saying there's 3 or 4 related products. So another entry point. I released this and I saw the engagement already. I saw more people coming to the store, but they were still a bit lost. They would come to the categories and see the categories, and they wouldn't understand where to go next. And even though I could see that I was going the right way, there's still something missing. And that's when I was sharing the app with a friend, with Abi. There's actually an episode about it where I recorded his reaction. I'll share it, the link in the description. And I asked him, I gave him a challenge, which was try to find, I think it was a plastic-free razor or something. And he couldn't. He was looking through the categories: eat beef maximum once per week, driving less than 40 kilometers a week. And then I realized that, first of all, these are very complex names, very long. People don't like to read long text in products. And some of them wouldn't even fit the screen. And now it seems obvious that, okay, this is not a good user interface. But back then, I didn't realize that, because when you're a developer, you are just too much in the funnel, right? You don't see what others cannot see, right? Because you understand everything. So he told me, okay, you need to reformulate these categories, and I totally agree. And that's what I did. We did a redesign and we reformulated the categories, and now there are categories that make much more sense. For instance, there's a CO2 offset, mobility, home, sustainable diet. And now it's much easier for users to look to these categories and find what they are looking for. And finally, this made the difference. Of course, there is the aggregation of all the features I just mentioned, but together with this one, I could see more clicks, I could see more engagement in the wish list. People are now using the wish list every day. People are doing multiple clicks per day. And now I'm having 10 to 20% clicks every day. So it took some time. This process took 2 months, I think, just to reach this. It's a lot of trial and error, a lot of frustrations. But now finally that part is done, and I can focus on bringing more users, because I know that now these users will also buy products, because everything is optimized for that. And the product can actually be viable and in the future hopefully profitable. So I just wanted to share this experience with you, because it takes time. There's no magic formula. Of course, that the more you know about product building, you get some intuition, but it always requires a lot of trial and error. And that's what I did with the ecostore. If you like the content of this podcast and if you want me to continue, I would really appreciate if you could share it with a friend. I know that you probably have some entrepreneur friends. I think you're at the moment thinking of them, aren't you? So go ahead, share the podcast with them. And if you really want to support it, you can buy me a coffee. The link will be in the description of this episode. This was another Wannabe Entrepreneur. See you tomorrow.